Okay, so to finish up this video, the axis of symmetry comes from you simply drawing a vertical line down the middle of the vertex, or it's just simply the x value of your vertex. And so in the next one it says, the effectiveness of a television commercial depends on how many times a viewer watches it. After some experiments, an advertising agency found that if the effectiveness, which is E, is measured on a scale from 0 to 10, then you get this formula. When N is the number of times a viewer watches a given commercial. For a commercial to have a maximum of effectiveness, how many times should a viewer watch it? So what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and figure out exactly how many times we should be viewing this. The viewer should watch this. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and look for is what is x equals negative b over 2a. So in our equation we have x equals negative 2 over 3 is our b value over 2 times our a value, which is negative 1 over 90. So at this time we're going to go ahead and simplify. We get negative 2 over 3 all over negative 2 over 90. This now becomes keep, change, flip. So negative 2 over 3 times, flip the bottom, negative 90 over 2. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this diagonally. This leaves me with 1 and 1. And I'm going to simplify diagonally, and this leaves me with 1 and 30. So when I multiply straight across, negative 1 times negative 30 gives me a positive 30. 1 over 1 is just 1. That means I get 30 times. The next example says a family wants to build a fence around a rectangular area of their backyard. They have 48 yards of fencing left over from a previous project. The family builds the fence using their house as one side of the rectangular area. So part A, we're going to find a function that models the rectangular area to be fenced. Part B is to find the dimensions of the rectangle that maximize the rectangular area. And part C is what is the maximum area that is to be fenced. So first I'm going to kind of draw a little image. Let's say that this is the house and this is kind of the rectangular area that we have. So we don't know the exact size of these. However, we were told here in our thing that they have 48 yards of fencing left over from their previous project. So that just simply means I have 48 minus whatever's left over from these two sides, which is 2x. So we know that the area of a rectangle is L times W. So I know my length and I know my width. So I get area equals 2 times 48 minus 2x. And if I distribute that, the area equals 2, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this in the right order. Area equals negative 2x squared plus 48. I'm sorry, this should be ax. There we go. So we get negative 2x squared plus 48x. So this is answering question A. Question B says now go ahead and find the dimensions of this rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and look for my x value. So I'm going to find x equals negative b over 2a. So I get negative b, which in our case from our equation is negative 48 over 2 times a, which is negative 2. When I simplify this, I get the value of 12. That just tells me one part of my dimension. I'm going to go ahead and take the 12 and plug it in for x so I can figure out the other dimension. So I'd have negative 2 times 12 squared plus 48 times 12. I'm sorry, wrong equation. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into this equation here to find the other side of my dimension. Right now I currently know that this is 12. Looking at the next one. So 48 minus 2 times 12 will give me my other dimension side, and that comes to be 24. So my dimension is going to be a 12 by 24 type rectangle. Part C says to figure out what is the maximum area that is to be fenced. So I'm going to use the equation A equals negative 2x squared plus 48x, which is what I found in A. And I'm going to go ahead and substitute 12 in to find out exactly what is the maximum area. What is the area? So negative 2 times 12 squared plus 48 times 12. That means the area equals 288 yards squared. Our last example says find a function whose graph is a parabola with vertex 3, 4, and that passes through the point 1, -8. So I'm going to go ahead and list out some things. First, I'm going to write my equation. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. That is my standard form. So I'm going to go ahead and list that my vertex, my a value, my h value is -1. My k value equals -8. Why am I doing this wrong? Sorry, guys. So my h value is 3, and my k value is 4. And then your x is 1, and your y is -8. So ultimately, the letter I'm looking for is my a value, because they want me to go ahead and find a function whose graph is a parabola with these 2 points. So I get my y value, I'm going to plug it in and solve. So I'm going to do -8 equals a times my x value, which is 1, minus my h, which is 3, squared, plus my k value, which was 4. Now it just becomes algebra. So I get -2 squared plus 4. -8 equals a. -2 squared is +4 plus 4. I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides, and I get -12 equals a times 4. I'm going to divide 4 on both sides, and I get a to equal -3. So when writing my equation, I get y equals -3 times x minus 3 quantity squared plus my k value, which is 4. So only thing I place back in my equation is the h and the k. Alright, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Star these problems. Check your homework that's on OneNote and work on 3.1.